Alright, this is Chapter 3, Part 5 of the You Do It section. In order to get started, we must first go in and open up Set Up Site 2. So let's locate that program and go ahead and open up setupsite2.java. We are going to make some changes to it. Now the very first thing they want us to do is change its name to Setup Site 3. So let's go ahead and do that, and so we don't make any mistakes and change a program we don't really mean to. Let's go ahead and do File and Save As, and let's change its name to Setup Site 3, and let's make a save on that so that we don't accidentally change anything that we really did not mean to change. Now what we need to do is we need to go in and create a statement that will allow us to create an object whose name is going to be OneSite that is going to link our setup site class to the event site program that we created in part 4. Alright, now what we're going to do is, if you remember, event site did not have a main method, and we have discussed that every program that you create must have a main method, or it must have access to a main method. So what we're going to do is, as you will notice here, you do have a main method in Setup Site 3. So we're going to use this program to link us over to event site. So we're going to go right below the scanner, open up a blank line, and we're going to type in here event site OneSite equals new event site with no arguments. Now what we've done is we have created a new object to link us over to event site. Every time that we use this link, we're going to refer to it or reference it to the title OneSite, and it is a new object with no arguments. We need to also go in and create a new variable for our newly declared OneSite. So what we need to do is, again, right underneath this line of code, we're just going to create a new line, and we are going to create an integer whose name is site num. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go below the statement that prompts for and receives the year, and we're going to add a statement to ask for the site number. Alright, so the very first thing that we need to do is we need to locate the lines of code system.out.println, enter the current year as a 4-digit number. Okay, now once we do that, we need to create a line, an open line of code there, after that grouping. And we're going to prompt our user to enter in the site number. Okay, so system.out.print. Now remember, print is going to keep everything on one line, so go ahead and enter the event site number. Remember to include proper spacing so that you get everything like it needs to be. We're going to hold all of the information there in our newly created variable whose name is site num, and it's going to be input, and it is an integer, so next int with no arguments. So at this particular point, we've linked event site to Setup Site 3. We've created a new variable. We've prompted the user for some information. Next, we need to call the method setSiteNumber, which is located over in event site. Now at this particular point, it is very, very, very important, and I can't stress that enough, very important that we use all the right names. And remember, Java is very, very sensitive. Everything has to be exact. Okay. Now, every time we want to make a trip back and forth between the programs, we need to use the name of the object that we created. So in this particular case, it is OneSite. Up here we did event site. One site equals new event site. So our trip over is going to be referenced to one site. All right, now where in event site are we going to go? We are going to set site number. Now, if you recall, set site number required an integer argument, so we're going to take with us site num. Now, one site must be exact because that's referencing the object that links the two programs together. The method that we're going to must be exact. It must be set site number because that's what it's called over an event site. And with us, we must take an integer, so we must include in our arguments in our call statement an integer. Because all this is a very fancy call statement, and we're going to a different class. That's the reason why we have to use the pointer, the one site, to tell me where to go, because set site number is not a method inside of setup site. Now, once we've done that, we need to go in and include some output. So we've got the information here where we have told you when our company was founded, how long we've been serving you, and now we need to include an additional line of output. So system.out.println, the site number is, and the concatenation because we're going to add something to it. All right, again, where do we get this information from? It's going to come from event site. Inside of event site is going to come from a method whose name is getSiteNumber. So again, we have to reference that other class. So one site dot, where inside of event site are we going? Get site number, and there are no arguments there, remember? Now everything has to be exact. If everything is not exact, it is not going to compile. You're going to have some issues. So you do need to make sure that every time you reference another class, any methods inside of that class, everything must be identical. All right, let's do a compile. I did get a clean compile there. Now at this particular point, I can go in and actually run this program. You will notice down here I do get the printout for Event Handler Incorporated, okay, because we did call Statement of Philosophy. It is prompting me here for the current year, so I'm going to enter in 2011 and press enter. It asks me for a site number, so we're going to tell it it's 99 and press enter, and it does do the math. It does all the different call statements. It tells me we were founded in 1977, been serving you for 34 years, and the site number is 99. That concludes Part 5.